Okay, this is my third time trying to do this, so I'm just gonna go for it. So, Malazan, Memories of Ice, Book 3 of Malazan Book of the Fallen. I'm gonna be going over some of my, I don't know, spoiler, non-spoiler review. I'll probably talk a little bit non-spoiler and then go and get into spoilers later on. My thinking is that if you're, I don't know, this is the third video I've made so far, and I feel like if you're watching the third video of a 10-book series, a review and spoiler discussion, I think you're kind of, I don't know, I think you're in it for the long haul. Long haul. I know I'm in it for the long haul. I know I'm, I was already kind of hooked with this series after Gardens of the Moon. I know that's a little bit of a controversial opinion. Most people don't really enjoy the first book. I'm one of the lucky few, I guess, that actually did really enjoy it, and I have enjoyed each sequel more than the previous one. So I think Memories of Ice thus far is my favorite Malazan book as of right now. So again, a little bit of non-spoiler, and then I will be discussing some spoilers about books 1 and 2. Probably more so book 1 because book 2 is, takes place on a completely different continent and is pretty removed from the events of book 3. But yeah, so Memories of Ice. For getting to non-spoilers, I totally understand. I see why people like people when someone's trying to sell you this series, they usually say get to book 3, read the first 3 books, and decide whether or not the series is for you or not. I have a very hard time recommending that to people just because look how thick this book is. Like, honestly, like, this is not like, and books 1 and 2 are shorter, but still very thick, detailed, dense books. And I just feel very bad trying to convince someone to before you even invest in this series, make sure you like the first 3 books, or this series isn't going to be worth it for you. I feel like you can kind of give someone leeway for the first book, but I feel like if you're not vibing by the second book and, probably by the third book, I think this series is not really for you. I have loved all 3 books so far, and I already have House of Chains. I have not read it at all, but I might start reading it a little bit tonight. Just because I just want to keep reading, keep going with the story. I just can't really stop. I just can't stop now. So I totally understand when people say read the first three books, because books 1 and 3, for those of you who don't know, books 1 and 3, so Gardens of the Moon, Memories of Ice. Memories of Ice kind of continues that storyline from Gardens of the Moon that you didn't get in Dead House Gates books 2. So a lot of your familiar characters are kind of back. Your Whiskey Jack, your Dew Jack, Perrin's back, Quick Ben. And you kind of see like their storyline and what happens to them, as the events of Dead House Gates was going on, that we saw with Kalam, Fittler, Duker, I guess Diker, Duiker, Felicen. And it kind of gives you a taste of, what I guess that sort of, it kind of concludes the final arc of these first 3 books, I would say, and what a conclusion it is. It feels like books 1 and 2. I feel like books 1 and 2 are kind of like prequels in a sense, where they lay down a lot of the groundwork. They lay down they get you familiar with the characters and the world and the different. I'm sure we're gonna be introduced to hundreds, if not thousands, of new characters between now and the Crippled God. But it lays down a lot, at least in my opinion, it lays down a lot of the bridge burners. It lays down a lot of the, it gives you connection with Perrin, with Whiskey Jack, Animander Ray, Kaladin Brew. It lays down a lot of the foundation of those important characters. And then Memories of Ice just gives you the gut punch, and a gut punch it gives you. It's these books are thick and long and dense, and I feel like Steven Erikson knows just how much of a commitment these books are. Because it's one thing to have a very long book, but it's another thing to have a very long, detailed, these are tomes. These are not very short reads, and they're so much detail. They're so dense with not even just like plot wise. Like yes, these plots. The plot itself is pretty straightforward. It's pretty easy to kind of follow along. It's like okay, yeah, like there's this army. We gotta beat this army. These armies are not that good, not that great. We gotta defeat them. We gotta beat them. We gotta team up and fight them. That's more or less the plot of Memories of Ice. A lot of the density comes from is just from so much of like themes and philosophy. I feel like um even though like the first two books were also very theme heavy, I feel like book two maybe more so than book one. But again, that's just going off a first reread. I'm sure going off a first read through. I'm sure when I do reread Gardens of the Moon, I'll probably see so much more that I missed the first time around. Which Steven Erikson does on purpose. He purposely makes these books very thick and dense so that people can enjoy them on multiple rereads, and that's awesome. So he understands just how much of a commitment, how much time commitment it is to read these books, how much brain power it takes to read these books, and so he makes sure he gives you a good ending, a worthwhile ending. And I feel like at the end of Gardens of the Moon, I felt very confused just with the whole introducing the Azov houses, introducing it was very confusing. End of Gardens of the Moon, not bad confusing, just a very curious confusion, and I was curious about what would happen next and what was going to happen. Dead House Gates ending left me just destroyed and depressed and sad. And Memories of Ice gave me a little bit of both and more. I feel like by the end of Memories of Ice, I felt I was sad. I was crying at the end of this book. I was cheering. I was laughing. All those emotions in one at the end of this book, and it's something very special. I was already sort of sold on this series after book one, definitely by book two, but now I mean, Jesus Christ! Like I knew I was going to finish this series. I knew I was going to read through the series. But now Memories of Ice has solidified that for me. This is, in my opinion, peak Malazan. I think this is where the series really kind of shows you what this series can do, what the series like has to offer, and yeah, it's a great entry. I see why this book is a lot of people's favorite, if not a lot of people's favorite book in the series. Right now is my favorite currently. It's probably out of the three books, it'll probably be 3, 2, 1. One being one Gardens of the Moon being my least favorite. Not by no means trying to shit on Gardens of the Moon. I think Gardens of the Moon is still an amazing book and still a great book. Just definitely the weakest out of the three, and I think probably potentially the weakest out of the whole series. But we shall see. What else? I don't want to spend too much time in non-spoilers because there's so much to talk about in these books. And again, with these reviews, I'm just kind of going off the cuff. I'm just kind of saying what I finished this. I finished Memories of Ice maybe 2 days ago. Yeah, maybe 2 or 3 days ago. So everything's still kind of fresh in my mind. I'm just still contemplating the ramifications and the ending of all of these books. So if there's something that I forgot. If there's something that I forgot or something that I didn't mention, I'm sorry. These books are thick. They're dense. There's a lot going on. I can't talk about everything, or this video would be 2 hours long. So yeah, I don't really want that. so yeah. So now this will be spoilers from now on about Memories of Ice. So I think, like I said, this is gonna be kind of just a lot of rambling going on. So I think I'll just kind of get into scenes that kind of stood out for me. I don't really want to talk too much about. I won't talk too much about the plot, I guess, but I'll just kind of mention like a lot of scenes and how I felt about those scenes and characters and what those characters meant to me, and I don't know, predictions moving forward and where I think this series is going to go. Although I think that's a very hard thing to do, just because each book kind of has its own self-contained story a little bit. Because I know House of Chains isn't going to really follow Perrin and Quick Bend and the Bridge Burners and Jen Backus. I don't know when's the next time we're going to be in Jen Back. I have no idea when the next time we're going to see these characters is what I'm trying to say. I don't know if... I know House of Chains deals with more of the Seven Cities storyline. It kind of continues that storyline. And I know book 5 is like, I don't know if book 5 is kind of like a whole new continent with a whole new cast of characters, or if we're like visiting previous characters as well. I don't know. I'm getting a little bit sidetracked now though. So pretty much Memories of Ice, you have this the Panyan Domain, which the Panyan Domain are these, well, you have like these like religious fanatics that are, some of them are cannibals, the Teniscari, which are cannibals. You also have the Children of the Dead Seed, which is some of the most gruesome and horrific and just terrifying depiction of war, depiction of violence, sexual violence. They're essentially, they are, the Children of the Dead Seed are children, soldiers essentially, who are born from the product of women raping dying men. And, you know, as they're dying, they're being raped, and these women get impregnated by them, and have their children. The most fucked up, crazy shit I've ever heard in my entire life. And it's crazy. So you have them, you have this group of people who are essentially going through Genebacus and conquering the southern part of Genebacus, which is a continent we were on in book 1. Whiskey Jack and Dude Jack and, you know, the whole Bridge Burners try and make an alliance with Kaladin Brood and with Andamander Rhaeg, the Rivi, etc., etc., so that they can fight back these people, because they don't want them taking over this continent and everything. So that's what's going on there. You also have Talk's alive, which is great. I didn't think he died in book 1. I feel like, you know, him being thrown through like a warren. I don't think so. I don't think that. I knew that he wasn't. I had a feeling he wasn't gonna die. So I think that was very, very, very satisfying seeing Talk again. I really liked him in book 1. He kind of is like this straight man. He's like our eyes as an audience, because Talk doesn't really know what's happening, what's going on. So I feel like he also kind of gives the reader that sort of reassurance, like, hey, don't worry, I also don't really know what's going on. So cool. Well, their storyline was happening. And you also have the Crippled God, who I think is an awesome addition. I feel like I love the Crippled God because he's like this, at least how he's portrayed in this book. Maybe he becomes more of a key player. I just don't really know. Is a Crippled God gonna be this sort of like Thanos character who's gonna be like sitting in the background, pulling his like puppet strings, and then like towards the very end is when he makes his big play, his big move and stuff? Or is he gonna be a more like engaged villain? He's actually gonna be like more, you know, in your face throughout the series. I have no idea. He was pretty much in the shadows, causing trouble in the background, but we didn't really see him interact with too many people. We do see at the very end though that he does like talk with Perrin a little bit in the epilogue. So he is unchained. So I don't know if that's related to him being accepted into the Deck of Dragons, or the House with the Deck of Dragons by Perrin. Don't know. In terms of storylines, I liked all these different storylines and plots. I think all of them are super cool. We also meet the Grey Swords with Ikovian, and I forget the other guy's name. Precarius, and Cornelius. The old mortal sword and Destriant. Those two. I like the Grey Swords. I liked Ikovian in the beginning, but towards the very end, I loved how he just takes on the grief and suffering of the Talani Mass. I think that was just beautiful. I think that was wonderful. Just a sense of compassion, which is a very big theme in this book, and I'm pretty sure compassion is a very important theme all throughout the Malazan books, not just in book 3, but it's definitely is kind of given to you a lot in book 3, which I don't really mind. I think it's a great welcome addition. I love those themes and themes and you know, storyline and plot line. So Kovian, super great character, really loved him so much. Whiskey Jack has one of the saddest deaths, I feel like. I literally like, I mean, we all saw it coming with the leg. I mean, that leg has been hinted and teased at since book one. So we all kind of saw that with his leg and everything. So that you know, that was kind of important. Calor, I have never liked and hated the character so much, and that's good storytelling. Like I don't think yeah, I don't like Calor, but I don't like him because he's a villain and he's a fucking asshole. And he killed Whiskey Jack. So I don't really hate him. I mean, I hate him for that, but I don't hate him as a character. You know, I don't hate the idea of him. I feel like you do need characters like that because everyone in the story is so morally gray, that you do sometimes need like just no, he is just definitively evil. Like you do need characters like that. Otherwise it's kind of like, I don't know, like what do we all like? Oh, we're all morally gray. Like, yeah, sure, but I think we do need like some like less ambiguity sometimes. It's okay for something. Some characters can be more black and white. That's okay. Yeah, what else? Things I didn't really care for. I guess the whole Bargas plot line. That then I get how important it was, and I'm sure it's gonna be important later on in later books probably, or might get explored later on in other books. I have no idea. It just felt like a little bit of a side plot, which granted it kind of was, and it was kind of told like, hey, before you go to Kapustan, go get these white face Bargas. I get it. That's pretty cool. Okay, yeah, sure. So I knew like it was gonna be sort of a like side quest type of deal. But overall, it was pretty interesting. I think it opened up a lot more lore. It kind of introduced a bit of the Tissa Edu, which we've been kind of getting a lot hinted at with the Tissa Edu, and they want the Shadow Throne, and they're trying to kill Mother Dark. So we get a little more intrigue. I definitely think that's gonna play more into book 5. The Tissa Edu and how they fit into all this. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. I enjoy the Maibi. I didn't hate the Maibi. I just felt her she just talks so much in like metaphors that it's so hard to kind of like totally understand what she like what she kind of like is talking about, and just the way like the prose were written, and also it's just really hard to tell if she was like in a dream or not in a dream, or was just you know, whatever was happening. I really enjoyed Silver Fox. I thought Silver Fox was very cool, and you know, again, great writing because you can really like a character, but not like their actions, and that's a very important distinction between the two. I like Silver Fox as a character, as a person. I don't like her actions though. The fact that she kind of kept this all big secret, that she was gonna have this dream world with like the Talon Eye and the Talon Maz and her mother and the Rivi people, like, and like she's like a conflicted person, right? She has all these different memories and feelings and people and emotions and personalities all within inside of her. And she has Tattersail, she has Nightshell, she has Bellerden, is that his name? It's a Skull Crusher dude. You know, she has all these different and Silver Fox is her own person as well. Like she has all these different personalities within inside her. So it can feel like a sense of like, where do I belong? Who do I belong with? Don't know if we're gonna see their storyline fleshed out in this series, because I know there is a book called Assail, which is the continent that they're going to deal with these like humans that have been killing the Talaimas. Which like I'm like interested in it, and at the same time it's like, damn, I really hope we like hear a bit more about that. But we'll see. Maybe I just got to read the side books. You know, that's looking like I might have to just read the side books and you know, the different novellas and everything. But yeah, I think that was very interesting. That was very cool. I literally cried. I'm just jumping around here, guys. I literally cried when Akovian died. And, you know, and I do want to read a quote that is, I don't usually do this, but I do want to read this quote. This is Akovian talking to the Taimas. Sirs, you speak of compassion. I understand something now of compassion. Would you hear? Speak on, mortal. We humans do not understand compassion. In each moment of our lives, we betray it. We know of its worth, yet in knowing, we then attach it to a value. We guard it, giving of it, believing it must be earned. Tamayamas, compassion is priceless in the truest sense of the word. It must be given freely in abundance. Like, what a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful quote for the end of a very selfless, very caring, giving character, and that's great. I love that quote. Again, I think compassion is a theme throughout the series, not just in Memories of Ice. I think compassion is a very explored theme throughout this whole series. Like, what is compassion? Can people be redeemed? Redemption is also a big theme of this book. With a pang seer, essentially getting a sense of redemption. I mean, like, he's not fully redeemed. He's not like forgiven. I think that's the thing. Like, redemption needs to be earned. It can't just be like given, carelessly. You know what I mean? Like, you have to earn redemption. You just can't be like, I'm sorry. Well, like, no, you need to like actually like work to give that, to get that, because he does a lot of fucked up things. I mean, like, he literally like tortures Talk. Some of the hardest scenes to read were with Talk. He has, I mean, killed thousands of people, and he has like starved a whole group of people into becoming cannibals. He's been controlling this, the matron, and using her, and I just think that's like so cool. Another cool thing is the Kachin Shamal. Now, if someone told me that there was a book series with sentient dinosaurs with swords for arms, I would have picked up this book series so much sooner. Like, why didn't no one tell me there was dinosaurs with swords for arms? And I really hope that we get to see more of them later on in the books. I think that'd be very cool. I think they're a very interesting introduction, a very cool addition, I should say, to the world. And it just makes me like appreciate just like the craziness of this book series. Like, you got like talking ravens, you got like you got Masters of the Deck, people turning into dragons, you got like people who can like shape shift into animals, and sometimes even to like multiple animals. Getting to that, Gruntle is another character who I enjoyed him from the beginning. I didn't think anything negatively about him. I thought, like, because I knew, like, in the beginning of any book, it takes time to warm up to these characters. Like, they're not like, I'm not gonna be super invested in these characters book one, chapter one, right? That's not how that works. But like, Gruntle was a character that really grew on me as the series progressed, and it definitely he shines the brightest in the Siege of Capistan, where he kind of like takes on being Treg's mortal sword, and then eventually, like, I guess giving it up. I'm not really too sure. So yeah, I think don't want to be any longer, but we're already at 23 minutes. But I guess it's just closing thoughts here. I think Memories of Ice is a beautiful, beautiful book. It's one of my not only just one of my favorite Malazan books, one of my favorite books in general. I think it's this book series is slowly. I mean, I love Wheel of Time, but this book series is slowly. It's approaching to be one of my favorite book series, and I feel bad admitting that sometimes, because I love the Wheel of Time. I love this book series. I love the Wheel of Time, but this is some of the most epic. This is epic fantasy, guys. Yeah. In terms of like where these characters go next, it's hard to know, because I honestly have no idea when I'm going to see these characters next. Because House of Chains is kind of a continuation of Dead House Gates, so I have really no idea when I'm going to see these characters next. I guess in terms of like, House of Chains, we'll be talking more about Tavorin and Kalam, and maybe some more Shadow Throne stuff. Maybe we might hear some more stuff about Shadow Throne, because we haven't really seen what he's been up to yet, or what his like. I feel like his plans are more complicated than just like killing the Empress. I don't know. I think it might be more involved than just that, but I could just be guessing. Some of the saddest stuff here is Whiskey Jack. I don't think he's dead. I think he's gonna get revived. I feel like, and this is a crazy theory, I feel like Whiskey Jack is gonna get, because Perrin blessed him, So I wonder if the bridge burners are gonna get blessed, which then like puts them into the game, into the house deck of dragons, and then they're gonna be part of Shadow Throne's house, like High House Shadow or something like that. Don't know. But we shall see. We shall see. The Pangan Domain, super brutal, super. Some of the darkest moments, but also some of the most like compassionate, caring, selfless moments as well. This book series has its ups. It has the highs are so high in this book series. I haven't experienced too many lows. I don't like even some of the more slower paced moments when people are just kind of hanging out talking. I still enjoy those moments. I still enjoy that time because it's building up the connection I have with these characters. Um, so yeah, I won't make this any longer, but that's my review of Memories of Ice. It's a fantastic book. It's a beautiful book. This is a great book series, and I can't wait to start House of Chains. It took me about 2 months to finish Memories of Ice, but that's not really from a lack of enjoyment. I just think it just took me a long time to get through that book. Is lots going on in that book. Yeah, so that's it, and I'll see you guys next time. Maybe hopefully sooner. Hopefully I finished this book a little bit, House of Chains, a little bit sooner, but we shall see. All right, goodbye.